You know, there are some poems that just stick with you, and Robert Frost's Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening is definitely one of them. On the surface, it's super simple, right? A guy on a horse stops to watch the snow fall in the woods. But it's captivated people for over 100 years. So what is going on beneath that simple, snowy surface? Let's find out.
I mean, just listen to that line. It immediately pulls you into this moment of total quiet and solitude. You can almost feel the cold air and hear the silence. It's his perfect, peaceful pause, miles away from, well, everything.
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Why does this one stick? Because it's not just about a guy in the woods. This poem taps into a fundamental choice, a pull that I think we all feel. So what's the secret hidden in these few short lines?
All right, to really get it, we've got to start with the main conflict. Frost sets up this incredible tension between two totally opposite worlds, and our traveler is caught right in the middle.
So on one side, you have the village. Think of it as society, with all its rules, its schedules, its responsibilities. And then on the other side, you've got the woods. This is pure nature, wild, free, and completely silent.
And you can really see that divide right here. You've got the structured, predictable world that we build for ourselves. And then there's the forest, vast, untamed, and kind of mysterious. Our speaker is literally standing on the border between them.
Isn't it interesting that the very first thing he thinks about is ownership? Whose woods are these? But out here, that whole idea feels kind of silly. The owner is way back in the village, cozy in his house. It's a great reminder that society's rules, like who owns what, really don't mean much when you're face-to-face with nature.
Okay, so that's the external conflict, the village versus the woods. But the real drama, the thing that makes the poem so powerful, is the conflict happening inside the speaker's own head.
He's not totally alone out there, right? He's got his horse. And the horse is basically like his conscience. It's this symbol of routine, of civilization, and it's like, boss, this is weird, we should be going. It's that little nudge telling him to get back on track.
And that's how deep the pull of society is. Even his horse feels it. That horse is basically the voice in all of our heads that says, hey, stop daydreaming, you've got stuff to do. So this little pause in the woods, it's actually a small rebellion against the daily grind.
And this is the core of it. The promises to keep. These aren't just, appointments in his calendar. They represent everything. Our jobs, our families, our duties. All those invisible threads that tie us to the world and pull us forward.
But see, the pull of the woods is just as strong, if not stronger. And to really get why, we have to look at probably the most famous 3 words in the whole poem. Lovely, dark, and deep.
The words Frost chooses are so important. He doesn't just say snowflake. He says downy flake. What do you think of when you hear downy? Softness, warmth, like a feather pillow or a warm blanket. So this isn't some scary blizzard. The snow itself is being described as something comforting, something inviting.
So the whole scene is basically an invitation. The quiet, the gentle snow, the darkness, it's all calling to him. It's a chance to escape the endless journey, to get away from all those promises and just rest. The woods are offering total peace.
And here is where the poem gets really, really deep. Is he just thinking about taking a quick nap? Or is this temptation for something more final? For someone who's tired from a long journey, maybe the journey of life, that lovely, dark, and deep could represent the ultimate peace, the final rest of death.
So yeah, the woods are not just woods. They're this incredibly complex symbol. They're a place of total freedom, a place for quiet thought, and maybe, just maybe, they're a symbol for death itself.
So all of this brings us to that famous, haunting ending. After all this back and forth in his head, what does our traveler actually do?
He is just frozen. He's literally stuck at a crossroads between the woods and the frozen lake. But he's also metaphorically frozen, caught between this deep desire for rest and the heavy weight of his obligations.
And then we get these 2 lines. The repetition is everything. It's not just him saying, I have a long way to go. It sounds more like a mantra, almost like he's trying to convince himself, or maybe he's just exhausted.
It almost feels like he's falling asleep as he says it, doesn't it? That repetition gives it this dreamy, tired feeling, making the journey ahead seem endless. Is he saying this to build up his resolve to leave? Or is he saying it as he gives in to the woods? Frost never tells us.
And that's the absolute genius of the poem. It leaves us right there with him, in that moment of choice.
We never find out if he rides on or if he stays. So the poem ends by handing the question over to us. When you're standing between your responsibilities and the deep, tempting call for rest, which way do you go?